wanted to focus this video on how to use math strategies. So last week I assigned you guys a math word problem, and I asked you guys to use one of the math strategies that we learned about in school that we covered during our math lessons. And I got a lot of strategies that were using the draw a picture strategy. So I got a lot of assignments that drew the picture strategy. So I thought it would be a really good idea if I went over these math strategies with an example math word problem so that you guys can try and use a different strategy this time when I assign you this new word problem today. So in order to get started with a word problem, the first thing we need to do is read it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read you the word problem that we're going to solve today. So the word problem reads, there are 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. How many coins are there all together? So when a problem is asking us, how many coins are there all together? We're going to look at that last sentence. It says, how many coins are there all together? When it is asking you how much is something together, they are asking you to add. They are asking you to put the numbers together, okay? So it says there's 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins. So that means that they want you to add these. They want you to put these numbers together and tell them how many they are all together. So if we wanted to use the 10 frame strategy, the first thing we would do is draw a 10 frame. So I already have a 10 frame for you guys. So right here it says, I can use 10 frames to add and subtract. So you count the number of yellow and red counters. So our problem said that there were 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins. So the first thing I would do is I would start with my 7 coins. So I read 7 gold coins, so I'm going to put 7 markers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So there are 7 gold coins, and now I'm reading that there are 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. So in order to not confuse myself, I want to use a different color to represent this second number. So I have an orange color right here, and it says I need 3 more. So I can add 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is how I would draw and show my word problem. So if you remember, this was on our sheet for ways to show 10. One way to show 10 is using a 10 frame. And if I look, I see that every single box in my 10 frame is full. So this means that there is 10 things in here. So there were 7 gold coins and then 3 silver coins. So that means that there are 10 coins all together. So I'm going to say there are 7 gold coins plus 3 silver coins, which means there are 10 coins all together. So this is how I would show my problem. But then a lot of things that I didn't see on people's problems were answering the word problem with the whole sentence. So the next thing you're going to do is say, how many are there all together? Because that is what the question was. It said, how many coins are there all together? So I would say, and write, there are 10 coins all together. And remember that when we write a full sentence, we need to make sure that we have a capital letter, and we need to make sure that we have a punctuation at the end. So this is what my word problem would look like. In this middle part where it says draw it, if I was using the 10 frame strategy, I would go ahead and draw this right over here. And then for answering it, I would put 7 plus 3 equals 10, and then I need my full sentence. So I need to make sure that I write there are 10 coins all together. And then I know that I answered the question. So that was how we used the 10 frame strategy, and the next strategy that we're going to use is the using our fingers strategy. So the next strategy we're going to focus on is using my fingers. So it says I can use my fingers to help me add and subtract. So when I'm adding both numbers. So I'm using both numbers to add on my fingers. But when I am subtracting, I make the large number first, and then I start taking away. So I'm not adding any more to it. So this problem, as we talked about, said there are 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. How many coins are there all together? So if we want to use our fingers to add and subtract, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the bigger number, and we're going to make that number with our fingers, and then we're going to count on. We're going to use our fingers to add them. So first, there are 7 gold coins. So I'm going to make the number 7 with my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have 7. And then it says, and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. So if I look, I still have room on my hand. I can still use these fingers that were put down. So I need to bring up 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So this is the strategy of using my fingers. So I have to count these now and find out how many coins I had all together. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just like earlier, my answer is 10. So in drawing it, you could draw your hands, and you can show what fingers you use and draw number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can draw that picture. So I guess I could draw it for you guys. So if you used your finger strategy, you can trace your hands, and you saw 7 gold coins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I had 3 silver coins. I see 3 fingers. 8, 9, 10. So I would say 7 plus 3 for my answer equals 10. And remember that in word problems, they asked you in a sentence, they said, how many coins are there all together? So you need to write a sentence. In your answer, you can put 7 plus 3 equals 10, but they wrote you a whole sentence, so you need to write one too. So your sentence would look like, they have 10 coins all together. So if you notice, I made sure that I have a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence, and then at the end of my sentence, I made sure that I added a period to my sentence. Okay, so make sure that when you guys are writing your sentences, you guys are adding a capital letter and a period. So the next strategy we are going to look into is going to be the counting on strategy. So I can count on to find the sum. I can count on to find the total amount. So in order to do that, just like when we were using our fingers, we need to start with the bigger addend and count on. That means I'm looking for the bigger number in the problem, and that's what I'm going to start with, and then I'm going to count on. I'm going to count forward. So if I look right here, I'm going to read the problem again. There are 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. How many coins are there all together? So if I'm going to use the count on strategy, I'm going to go ahead and look for the bigger number. So I see the number 7 and the number 3. If you notice in all of my word problems, I underline the important numbers, and then I underline the question at the end, because I always want to know what question I'm supposed to answer, and I want to know what numbers I'm either supposed to add or subtract. So right here, I see 7 gold coins and 3 silver, and I know that the number 7 is way bigger than the number 3. So if I'm going to count on, I'm going to start with the bigger addend, the bigger number, and I'm going to count on. So I'm going to put 7 gold coins in my head. Put 7 in your head, and then you're going to count on 3 more. So 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 coins, just like before. I have 10 coins all together. So if I want to draw it, I can draw the number 7 and then counting on, or I can draw 7 plus 3 equals 10. And remember, for the answer portion, you need to make sure you have your whole sentence. So I would write, they have 10 coins all together. So you need to make sure that you answer in a full sentence, just like they asked you a question in a full sentence. For this word problem, we've already covered a few strategies. So we've learned how to use the 10 frames to solve the problem. We've learned how to use our fingers. We've learned how to count on. And now we're going to draw a picture. I saw a lot of you guys draw a picture this week, so I know that many of you guys know how to do it already, but we're just going to go over it just in case. So we're going to read the word problem again. So I read, there are 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. The first thing I did was I underlined my important numbers. I see 7 and I see 3. These are the numbers I need to do something with. So I need to know, what do I need to do with them? So it says, how many coins are there all together? So if we put things together, we are combining them. That means we are adding them. We are making the number larger. So in order to draw it, in order to draw a picture, I need to draw a picture representing what the problem is telling me. So first I see 7 gold coins. So I'm going to draw 7 gold coins. And I'm going to draw them in the color of brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I usually like to draw things in groups of 5 so that when I make 10, I know and I can count easily, but you can draw them however you want. And next, I see 3 silver coins, so I have to draw a picture. So I saw 7, but now I need to draw a picture to say what I'm doing. What are you doing? You are adding, because you want to know how many there are all together. I'm going to put the plus sign, and then I need 3 more coins apparently. 3 silver. So 1, 2, 3. So this is a picture representing what I read. This picture is telling me that there are 7 coins and 3 coins that I'm trying to add together. So I'm going to go ahead and count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So again, just like before, 7 right here, plus 3 over here is 10. And then I make sure that I write my sentence in my answer part. So this goes in your drawing portion. This goes in your answer part with your full sentence. They have 10 coins all together. This next strategy we're going to cover is counting with tally marks. I can count with tally marks. So in school, we were always using the tally marks. I remember that we would use them on our boards. And a lot of the times, I remember that you guys would forget that tally marks are always drawn in only groups of 5. So we're going to start just by writing the tally marks first. So when you are writing tally marks, you use them to count in groups of 5. So you say you draw 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, and then a lot of people would forget that the 5th line goes across. And this is so that you know that there are 5 lines. This is an easy way to look at a picture and not have to count each single line, because you know that tally marks are drawn with 4 lines and then 1 all the way across. So if I were to see this picture, I can count by 5s because I know that these are placed in groups of 5s, and we always draw tally marks in groups of 5. I know that this is 5, this is 10. If I had another one, I would count by 5 again, and it would be 15. So let's go ahead and solve our word problem using the counting with tally marks strategy. So we see there are 7 gold coins and 3 silver coins in the treasure chest. How many coins do they have all together? All together, we are adding them, we are putting them together and making a bigger number. So I'm going to start off with the number 7 because that's my biggest number. So I'm going to say 7 gold coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I wanted to add to that, I could draw another plus sign and then another picture. Or I could do this. I see 3 silver coins, but because I don't want to get confused and I want to make sure that I'm actually counting 3, I'm going to use a different color. So I'm going to add my 3 silver coins. 1, 2, I already see 4, so I know that to make 5, I have to draw the line across. So I know right here, just by looking at the picture, that I have 10 coins, because remember, we draw these in groups of 5. So my question would say 7 plus, and maybe I'm going to draw the 3 with my orange marker just to be sure, so that I know what I'm talking about, equals 10. I had 10 coins all together. Remember, this is going to go in your draw it portion. This picture goes in the draw it portion. In your answer it portion, you have the addition problem or the subtraction problem, depending on what you are solving, and then you have your full sentence. If your sentence doesn't fit on this side of the paper, you can always turn your paper around and write your sentence on the back. So we have to always make sure that we add our sentence answering the question that the problem asks. So the problem asked us, how many coins did we have all together? So we needed to answer and say how many coins we put together. So they have 10 coins all together. I made sure that I used my capital letter and that I used my period at the end of the sentence. We've been covering a lot of the math strategies for how to solve word problems. So far we've covered how to use 10 frames, how to use our fingers to count, how to count on by putting the number in our head and then counting forward. We learned how to draw a picture to show what the problem is asking us. We just covered how to count with tally marks, and now we're going to cover how to use a number line. So in order to use a number line, we need to write the numbers down. So I'm going to write my number line. I see 7 and 3, so I'm going to write, I need to make sure that I can start at 7. So I'm going to write a number line. Number lines are kind of long. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, if I want to start at my word problem, I'm going to read it one last time before I use my number line strategy. So I see that there are 7 gold coins. So I'm going to draw a dot at the number 7 because this is where I'm going to start. Remember, we start with a bigger number first. And then there was 3 silver coins more. So if there's more, I'm going to move up spaces on my number line. If they said they took away or there was less, then I would have to move back. But because they said there's 3 silver coins more, I'm going to jump 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. And look at what number I ended up on. 10. So I would write 7 plus 3 right here, look. This was 7 plus 3 equals 10. You notice when I first started at the number 7, I put a really dark dot down there to help me remember that I was at the number 7. And then I jumped 3 spaces and I drew an arrow and drew an open circle to know that I landed on 10. And the last thing I need for this is my full sentence. So I need to write my full sentence. They have 10 coins all together. So in your draw it portion, if you use the number line strategy, this picture should be right here. And in the answer it portion, you should have 7 plus 3 equals 10. And you need to make sure that you have your full sentence. In order to get all the credit for your math problems, you need to make sure that you include your full sentence. So today, I'm going to give you guys a new math problem, and I'm going to challenge you guys to use a different strategy. So whichever strategy you used last time, I want you to try and use a different one. So I just showed you a whole video on different ways to try it. So I want you to show me in your pictures and in your sentence which strategy you are using. If you would like, you can label it just to be clear, or you can just make sure to draw a very clear picture. So right here, I use the number line strategy. So if I want to, I can just make sure I write number line. Number line strategy. And I drew an arrow to know that that's the strategy that I use. I look forward to seeing your work, and I know you guys are going to do a great job applying and using all of these strategies.